Well, Trump and Musk are getting sued already. Surprise, surprise. Welcome back to a Pangburn rapid fire live stream. Is anyone surprised to hear this? 14 states file a lawsuit arguing Elon Musk's authority at Doge is unconstitutional. The lawsuit is one of several accusing President Donald Trump of skirting the Constitution and Musk of operating with unchecked power. Welcome, welcome. I'm going to give you guys a quick Discord link so you know how to get in here if you want to try calling in. Welcome back. Welcome back. Here we are. Holding people accountable. That's what this is all about. How can we have democracy if we don't hold people accountable who are doing sketchy shit? Like this whole Doge business. Did anyone think these guys were going to get sued this quickly? Make sure you smash that like button when you get into the room. So, a group of 14 states. Oh, just one sec here. There we go. We are good. We are good. There we go. A group of 14 states sued Elon Musk and President Donald Trump on Thursday, which is today, arguing that the authority the White House granted the tech billionaire and his advisory Department of Government Efficiency is unconstitutional. The suit, filed by Democratic attorneys general from states like Arizona, Michigan, and Rhode Island, takes him at the magnitude and scale of Musk's power, takes aim at the magnitude and scale of Musk's power, noting that Doge has led the Trump administration's efforts to dramatically reduce the size of the federal workforce, dismantle entire agencies and access sensitive data. The founders of this country, and this is a quote from Arizona Attorney General Chris Mays, the founders of this country would be outraged that 250 years after our nation overthrew a king, the people of this country, many of whom have fought and died to protect our freedoms, are now subject to the whims of a single unelected billionaire. The attorneys general argued that Trump violated the appointments clause of the Constitution by creating Doge, an unofficial government agency, without congressional approval and by granting Musk, quote, sweeping powers without seeking the advice and consent of the Senate through a confirmation hearing. Here's another quote. President Trump has delegated virtually unchecked authority to Mr. Musk without proper legal authorization from Congress and without meaningful supervision of his activities. The lawsuit reads, as a result, he has transformed a minor position that was formerly responsible for managing government websites into a designated agent of chaos without limitation and in violation of the separation of powers. The states are seeking a court order blocking Musk from making changes to government funding, canceling contracts, making personnel decisions, and more. White House Press Secretary Caroline Levitt, I think her name is, called the lawsuit a continuation of the weaponization of justice against President Trump. So every time someone comes after Trump for anything or calls him out, or it's always a weaponization of justice against President Trump. 34 felonies, weaponization of justice. We see this all the time. This is the attitude. So, so the plaintiffs, okay, I got that in. Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel emphasized the gravity of the situation, stating, "We are asking the court to invalidate his directives and actions and to issue a restraining order." This is in reference to Elon Musk. New Mexico Attorney General Raul Torres criticized the approach, noting, "Move fast and breaking things may work in Silicon Valley for a tech company. It's not good governance, and it's unconstitutional. This legal action reflects broader concerns about the secure handling of sensitive information within federal agencies and the potential overreach of Doge's authority. Critics argue that Musk's methods, which involve accessing computer systems and scrutinizing budgets across various agencies, undermine constitutional governance and lack proper oversight. What does everyone think about this? Do you think they caught Musk's hands in the cookie jar here? Someone saying Musk is auditing, Trump has the power. Yeah. We'll see. So here's some information on what Elon Musk has been up to. So Elon Musk's actions and statements since working with Donald Trump have raised several potential dangers, both politically and socially. Here's why they are concerning. 1, undermining democratic institutions. Musk's push to eliminate entire federal agencies without proper legislative oversight could destabilize essential government functions. Agencies like EPA, FDA, or Department of Education play critical roles in public safety, health, and governance. If major structural changes are made hastily, it could lead to chaos, loss of accountability, and mismanagement. Centralizing power in an unchecked technocrat. By heading the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, and pushing major restructuring efforts, Musk is effectively inserting himself into federal governance without a democratic mandate. If power becomes concentrated in a single, unelected individual with no government experience, it raises serious concerns about authoritarian overreach and lack of public oversight. I need to read that again. So here's a big problem with Musk and Trump's relationship here. Centralizing power in an unchecked technocrat. By heading the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, and pushing major restructuring efforts, Musk is effectively inserting himself into federal governance without a democratic mandate. If power becomes concentrated in a single unelected individual with no government experience, it raises serious concerns about authoritarian overreach and lack of public oversight. I'm sure the right wing and the Republicans out there would have a problem with this if the Democrats were doing something similar. Can someone point to an example where the Democrats have done something similar in the past 10 years? Kamala, what do you mean? Kamala as vice president? Expanding the influence of private corporations over government. Musk's direct involvement in governance raises concerns about corporate overreach. Tesla, SpaceX, and Starlink all have major government contracts. And if Musk is making policy decisions, there is a clear conflict of interest. He could shape policies that benefit his businesses at the expense of competitors or public welfare. So this is especially a problem when it's someone like Musk who owns such a large chunk of the business that the United States does. It's a huge problem. And that should be a red flag to anyone who was looking to appoint someone as a head of or a member of something like Department of Government Efficiency. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the stream. Make sure you smash that like button. Let me know what you guys think. 14 states are suing Trump and Elon Musk. It didn't take long. Here we go. The lawsuits are going to be stacking up here. Militarization and economic instability. If Musk's elimination of government oversight extends to military or financial sectors, the U.S. could see increased privatization of military tech, weakening national security oversight. Weakening national security oversight. If he encourages deregulation in finance, it could contribute to market instability. Encouraging tech autocracy. Musk's control over AI and transportation projects gives him leverage over crucial infrastructure. His push for AI dominance, paired with his influence in transportation, Hyperloop, SpaceX, the Boring Company, etc., suggests a future where private corporations, not governments, control critical public services. So these are just some things to be aware of. So since collaborating with Donald Trump, Elon Musk has made several controversial statements and taken actions that have drawn significant public attention. Some of them we've already talked about, but we'll go over again quickly. And I want to know what you guys think. I'm going to be going through your comments. Do you guys think these 14 states who filed, who are suing Elon Musk and Donald Trump, do you think they have good reason to do so? Let me know in the YouTube comments. If you're on Discord, make sure you're on YouTube with us right now, commenting on YouTube as well, because I'm going to be reading YouTube comments. Advocacy for eliminating federal agencies. Musk has called for the U.S. to, quote, delete entire agencies to reduce government spending and bureaucracy. He emphasized the need to remove these agencies entirely, comparing them to weeds that must be uprooted to prevent regrowth. So I don't know about you guys, but I love bureaucracy. I love checks and balances, lots of them, so that some nutcase can't get elected and come in and fuck it all up. And then everything has to be replanted and grown again, using the analogy of being a gardener who's taken out the bad weeds. I don't want to see my country, I'm a Canadian. I wouldn't want to see my country destroyed because there weren't enough checks and balances in place or enough agencies in place or oversight. So I think that's, that's suspect when someone's trying to come in and weed out the bureaucracy. It's fine. Like, that's the thing. Like, it's all fine to try and look at areas where you can save on spending, but not at the expense of democracy, right? Like, some things are worth spending money on. Denial of a quote, hostile takeover of the U.S. government. In response to criticisms that his Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, was executing a, quote, hostile takeover by dismantling federal agencies, Musk denied these allegations, asserting that their efforts were part of a government reform mandate endorsed by the public. So does the public endorse this? How does Elon Musk know that the public endorses this? Controversial, we can go to the controversial gesture at Trump's inauguration. During President Trump's second inauguration, Musk made a gesture that some interpreted as a Nazi salute. He dismissed these claims as politicized attacks, stating, "The everyone is Hitler attack is so tired," but did not explicitly deny the allegations. I mean, if you watch it and you watch how white supremacists or neo-Nazis or Nazis salute, do the Nazi salute, it's, that appears to be what he did. That doesn't mean that he's a Nazi. It just means he's, somewhat socially inept and probably didn't think at all. Kind of like how Trump doesn't think about the words he uses when, or he seemingly doesn't think about the words he uses when he's speaking about things publicly, which is, was made obvious in his response to the 60 some people who were killed in the plane crash recently. And, he had a really poor choice of words and kind of made a lighthearted dig and joke at the reporter as a response when asked if he was going to go visit the crash site. So this controversial gesture doesn't mean he's a Nazi. It just, it's just someone who's not thinking, who's not thinking well, who's someone who's shown himself to be reckless. I guess he's a public official now, but just completely reckless. I would be worried if I was a shareholder. Critique of OpenAI and promotion of his own AI initiatives. Musk criticized OpenAI's management and announced plans to advance AI technology through X's new chatbot, Grok 3. Okay. proposal of the Dubai Loop transportation project. He announced a proposed Dubai Loop transportation project with a boring company promising efficient transit through a network of underground tunnels. So yeah, there seems to be like this tendency of him starting to talk about like how his companies can get involved in Department of Government efficiency, and maybe the most efficient thing is to go with Elon Musk's companies and oh no, I'll give you guys a really good deal, like that kind of thing is probably an issue. So let's see some of your comments here. Musk is auditing. Trump has the power. What did they think would happen? It's the Department of Government Efficiency. Someone said, when did anybody stop Biden? Yeah, and then someone rightfully asked right after, what did Biden do that compares to this? Yeah, let's hear the answer to that. This was Miss Know-It-All who made that comment. Let's see if Miss actually does know it all. See if you can respond to Understandable's question. What did Biden do that compares to this? Stirlo says, I like what Trump and Musk are doing. It's a good move and needed. What specifically? Just everything or anything they're doing? The vagary and generalization I hear coming from Trumpers is troubling to me. I never ever hear any justifications for their stances or beliefs. I never hear it. I never hear justifications. I just hear, I like what they're doing or what they're saying. Why? Why do you like it? Let's hear it. Why do you like it? Make sure you guys smash that like button. We're going to be chilling for a while here online. Gravit Heist says, all this lawfare sounds like insurrection to me. Is that what all this legal action is? 14 states are suing Trump and Elon Musk. What do you guys think? Miss Know-It-All says, y'all lost. Deal with it. You didn't respond to the person's great question. Juan says, Elon doesn't need a single penny. So what? So what? What does that have to do with anything? Red herring. Who's that? The same people that hire 40,000 new IRS agents is complaining about being audited. Nah, he exposed legit misappropriations of our money. Well, I think that's yet to be seen. There's been a lot of claims made, but don't just believe. Like if someone comes out and says, we discovered this, that, and the other misappropriation of funds. Now, was it a misappropriation of funds, or was it funds spent in a way that you don't like or that you don't approve of, or maybe that you don't understand? Two different things. The medical system has failed this country. Yeah, I mean, I think you guys have a terrible medical system in the U.S. It's disgusting that you don't have universal health care. You should move to Canada, all of you. To the food industry has failed this country. I can agree with that to some extent. The school system has failed this country. Yeah, man, Ryan Springer on a roll. Yeah, don't compare what Elon Musk is to Kamala Harris, the appointed vice president. Don't even try to compare those her position to what's going on with Elon Musk. That's ridiculous. Go back to the drawing board on that one, please. Dr. MRM says, things aren't great here. It's clear that our tax dollars aren't being spent the way that's best for us. Let's get to the bottom of it. Yeah, but if you want to get to the bottom of something, do you really want a fraudster, a criminal, sexual abuser, now appointing the king of anti-science and anti-vax as your health appointee? Like, this is not it. This can't be it to get to the bottom of it. Newsflash, billionaires don't care about you. You mean this could lead to corruption? A single unelected individual? Seriously? It's not just a single unelected individual. It's Elon Musk, who has some of the biggest companies in the world that operate out of the United States of America. And his influence on Donald Trump and also his own decisions, his own Doge decisions, could highly influence the amount of money his company makes. And this is all also advertising for him. Like, there's a lot of things to consider here, and how it really affects democracy. The libs freaking out over these guys fixing. It's not the libs. It's 14 attorney generals, right? 14 states are suing Trump and Elon Musk. It's not just a few libs. Rye Springer says the country needed change. Why can't you understand that? This system has been broken for the everyday American. How is Donald Trump, a known shyster, and his buddy, the king of anti-science, RFK Jr., how are they the answer to the broken system? Someone please explain that to me. Dr. MRM says, people are mad. Corruption is about to be exposed and are using whatever excuse they can think of to make it look like that's what they worried about. Oh, and someone's already working on the apologetics here. Will Polson says they uncovered their pay gig, of course. They're getting sued. Okay. Let's read a little bit more on this. Last week, New York Attorney General Letitia James and 18 other state attorneys sued the Trump administration to block Doge from accessing personal data housed in the Treasury Department, calling such access unconstitutional. A federal judge temporarily granted that request, finding the states, quote, will face irreparable harm in the absence of injunctive relief. In a separate suit, a federal judge granted a request by 22 state attorney general to halt an effort by the Trump administration to make massive cuts to federal research agencies for things like equipment, maintenance, utilities, and support staff. Despite the legal challenges, Trump has stood by Musk and Doge, praising their efforts to reduce the size of the federal government. He has also lashed out as the courts are putting up roadblocks. Quote, and I think this is from Trump. We have to make our government smaller, more efficient, more effective, and a lot less expensive. And we could find $1 trillion, but we're being hindered by courts where they file in certain courts where it's very hard to win, and a judge will stop us. Trump told reporters Wednesday. So blaming it on the judges and the court system where it's really hard to win. It couldn't just be that what they're doing is unconstitutional. This should cause some alarm here. Let's see what else we got. Yes, I'm a Canadian complaining about your president. The United States president affects almost all nations around the world. Philip Vanavesky says watching Joe Rogan is not a way to learn about the world. I mean, you can like Joe Rogan has some legitimate guests on, but yeah, you're right. It's like, when Joe Rogan gets some like anti-vaxxer on there and they're spreading all kind of anti-vax rhetoric and vaccine hesitancy, like when he had RFK Jr. on, you know, people need to have some kind of bullshit filter to understand that that's just a constant stream of bullshit coming out of the brain of the king of anti-vaxxers, RFK Jr. But then Joe Rogan will have some other people on, like he'll have Neil deGrasse Tyson, he'll have Brian Greene, he'll have Lawrence Krauss, he'll have Sam Harris, he'll have a lot of different people who are, very, very well informed on their particular professions and very scholarly, and so you can learn some things. But yeah, it's you really got to be on alert. You got to bring a good sound epistemology to go in to kind of decipher the Joe Rogan experience, because there's a lot of shit mixed in with some good there. Check. Okay, I think I'm back. I have to scroll back up. Sorry, I lost you guys for 2 seconds there. Yeah, we got a lot of MAGA trolls here. That's fine. I mean, I want to speak to people who consider themselves as a part of MAGA. I want to try to better understand the justifications in their mind for what they believe. Yeah, and it's just like anyone who doesn't agree, if you're saying it, like if someone's not agreeing with you and they're reading all this information and your only response or only reason you have that you can grasp onto is that I have Trump derangement syndrome, that is something wrong with how you are processing information. Because you're just not, that just shows me you're not listening anymore. So something about your own epistemology, something about as how you're taking and processing information, there's a block there. And that is what happens when, well, we see that in cults, right? We see that block in cults where you could put any kind of, you can make any kind of strong arguments against their position, against something they believe. And they'll just have a response of like, no, you're just a doubter, or you're just, you have TDS, or you just don't understand. It's like, no, it's not that I don't understand. It's like I referenced what it is your argument is, and then I refuted it. So what do you think about my refutation? So just saying TDS doesn't get you anywhere. It just really exposes kind of a culty like movement that you seem to be trapped in. Well, you're asking what they're being sued for. I'll go over it again. So 14 states file a lawsuit arguing Elon Musk's authority at Doge is unconstitutional. So the 14 states are suing Elon Musk and Donald Trump. So they're arguing that the authority that the White House granted the tech billionaire and his advisory Department of Government Efficiency, this authority is unconstitutional. The suit filed by Democratic Attorney General from states like Arizona, Michigan, and Rhode Island takes aim at the magnitude and scale of Musk's power, noting that Doge has led the Trump administration's efforts to dramatically reduce the size of the federal workforce, dismantle entire agencies, and access sensitive data. Here's a quote. The founders of this country would be outraged that 250 years after our nation overthrew a king, the people of this country, many of whom have fought and died to protect our freedoms, are now subject to the whims of a single unelected billionaire. This is by Arizona Attorney General Chris Mays. Make sure you guys smash that like button. I'll be live for a while here tonight dealing with your guys' claims. Sky's the limit says soon Canada will be in our covered. Actually, it won't. Canada, the right and the left in Canada is so united on this that we don't want anything to do with Donald Trump's United States of America. We're going to tolerate it because we have to, but we don't want anything to do with it. If you just look at the polling data that's available. for what Canadians think of Trumpers and what Trump's doing and Elon Musk's involvement in government. You know, yeah, let's have the billionaire with his arm around the president and give him access, unconstitutional, it looks like, access to secrets. And yeah, let's have him involved in decision making. That won't cause corruption at all. But yeah, no, Canada will never be in your cupboard. Sorry to say. Canada, you know what? Through diplomacy, Canada has done amazing. It's actually the United States of America who is Canada's bitch. Why do I say that? Because you spend all your money on your military. What do you guys spend? Like $1 trillion a year or something? And Canada gets to sit back and you guys do all of our protecting for us, essentially. And, you know, you basically do that because we are great partners, and we are great partners, I would say, because of our diplomatic efforts over our long history together. But I mean, if we really want to look at like who's using who or who's getting a better deal out of all this, yeah, we've been dominating you in that regard for many years, and tariffs aren't going to do a damn thing about that. So you guys can suck on that one. Democratic politicians were at Jeffrey Island and P. Diddy parties. Okay, Josh. Josh DeSantis. Yeah, we do get free military backup. We have to tolerate the absolutely inept psychos that you guys seem to want to elect as your leader. Kingpin says Elon is collecting the soap all the time in jail. I don't even know why you said that. Keep those fantasies in your own mind. Good vibes. So instead of dealing with what's going on here, Trump and Elon Musk getting sued, this is just the beginning, folks. Just starting. You're not dealing with any of that. You're more interested in telling me Canada has its own issues, but out. Maybe you should be worried about that. Yikes. If you're not, like, why even write that? What does that do for furthering your purposes, right? We all have these purposes that we're trying to pursue. We all are trying, hopefully we're all trying to believe as many true things and as few false things as possible. So what does that do for that? Note this, you can keep lying to yourself, but there's a whole group of people that are going to laugh at you because you all aren't used to this. Get used to it. What goes around comes around. Okay. Idiot alert. Reston Ox says, is there a Trump supporter in the chat that can correctly describe a tariff, the pros and cons? There are very few pros to tariffs, by the way. They tend to just create trade war. That's like all they do. Yeah. Well, I don't think I'm the loser here because I'm not the one being sued by 14 states. Runway, do you honestly think that Canada is going to be America's 51st state? Do you honestly believe that, or are you just being silly? Because that would be peak capture. That's when you know you're in the Trump cult, I would say. When you start saying Canada is going to be America's 51st state, that's so irrational, unreasonable, so lost out in not even left field, like diagonal field or something. You're way, way out there. You're not even in the field. You're fishing without a fishing pole while your friends are over playing baseball. You're not even on the field anymore. Yeah, Canada's not going to be America's 51st state. Whoever told you that, I think I know who. Don't listen to that person. They don't know what they're talking about. They like to lie, probably. William Gray says, so what? People sue for anything. Doesn't mean they are justified. Well, at least, they were justified when Trump was charged and found guilty of 34 felonies. So Ginger says Trump is the biggest embarrassment America has ever had. By far. This is by far the biggest embarrassment for the United States of America. And it's amazing because there's so many people. I see them in the stream. There's so many people that are like, this is great. It's kind of, I feel the same way when people are like, they look up to someone like Andrew Tate. It's just like, you understand Andrew Tate is an embarrassment. You can't knock the guy's like fighting ability. I'll be the first to admit that. Great fighter, did some great things, and I think it's kickboxing, right? That's all fine and dandy, but not someone to look up to as like a moral hero or as a way you should be. Same goes for Trump. Annex Canada now. What do you think would actually happen if the United States decided we're going to invade Canada? What do you think would actually happen? I actually think the United States would get bent over by the rest of the world. I really do. I think they would. Canada has very good relations with the rest of the world. I can't say the same thing for the United States. And now, when you elect a bully, narcissist, deeply, deeply morally bankrupt criminal as your president, that's not going to help things. And when he brings that bully nature and attitude into the White House. There's a lot of seemingly males in the chat here who are interested in like where I keep my ball gag, wondering if I'm gay. Like, it's interesting, this infatuation. I wonder what it means. Could it be connected to the Trump is our daddy? Trump's daddy. Daddy's back. Could it be that? Could it be? It just might be. Well, that's ironic. Someone with the name Good Vibes says coward. Well, those aren't very good vibes. Yep. It's official, folks. 14 states are suing Elon Musk and Donald Trump. How many lawsuits are we going to be at by the end of this presidency? It's going to be a lot. What up, Joe Blow? Welcome, welcome. Puerto Rico's going to pay for it. Canada is going to pay. Do you guys want to hear like the reality of tariffs? Does anyone know a thing about tariffs here? Yeah, I've had many economists and different people on my podcast in the past. We've talked about tariffs. Tariffs are like the sandbox leader. That's like what a sandbox leader does when they don't understand anything about how an economy works. So tariffs function, here we go, as a tax. Okay, we'll read it this way. Trump's tariffs don't work as intended for several key reasons, primarily due to economic inefficiencies, retaliation, and unintended consequences. Here's a breakdown. Tariffs function as a tax on Americans. Tariffs are a tax on imports, meaning that U.S. businesses and consumers end up paying higher prices for goods rather than foreign companies taking the hit. Again, everyone, turn up your hearing aids, both sides, unplug your ears. Daddy Pang's talking to you. Turn down Daddy on the TV. Tariffs are a tax on imports, meaning that U.S. businesses and consumers end up paying higher prices for goods rather than foreign companies taking the hit. Companies that rely on imported goods, manufacturers using steel and aluminum, for example, pass the costs on to consumers, leading to higher prices across various industries. For example, the Trump steel and aluminum tariffs 2018 raised costs for U.S. manufacturers, making American products less competitive globally. Yay! Maybe that's what he's trying to do. Maybe all of you elected a guy who's really out there to fuck the United States of America over. I don't know how he could do a better job at that. He's doing a really good job at that, at doing that already, and he's just started. You know what are the real problems? I've just signed an executive order to bring back plastic straws. It's plastic straws are the issue. I miss them. I don't know how to use the paper straws correctly. I just can't use them. Plastic straws. I think you learn how to use a straw when you're in kindergarten. And the paper-based straws work the same. You suck the liquid through. Voila. But the straw, after you're done, it's all wet and soggy. Yeah, recycle it. Retaliatory tariffs hurt U.S. exports. Countries hit with U.S. tariffs, like China, Canada, and the EU, impose their own tariffs in response, making it harder for American businesses to sell their goods abroad. Here's another example. China's retaliatory tariffs targeted U.S. agricultural products like soybeans, resulting in massive losses for American farmers. The U.S. had to bail out farmers with subsidies around $28 billion from 2018 to 2020, negating any economic gains from the tariffs. Oh, if only like when I imposed my tariffs, I impose these tariffs and then all of a sudden they tariff me back. What is that? Why do they do that? Could it be that they also have to lead their country and they're not going to stand for your bullying in this ridiculous sandbox way that any fool could pick up a book and figure out a way on how to retaliate? Like it's ridiculous. Smash that like button if you've just gotten into the room. We're going to be holding Trump, Musk, the newly appointed health advisor or health secretary, the king of anti-science, RFK Jr. We're going to be holding all of these guys accountable over the next 4 years here at Pangburn. No clear benefit for U.S. jobs. The promise of bringing back manufacturing jobs largely did not materialize. While there was some temporary job growth in steel and aluminum industries, job losses in industries that rely on these materials like manufacturing and construction outweigh the gains. The Peterson Institute for International Economics found that for every steel job created, around 16 jobs were lost in other industries due to higher costs. Thanks, tariffs. Trade deficit didn't improve from the tariffs. A major justification for the tariffs was to reduce the U.S. trade deficit, the gap between imports and exports. However, the trade deficit actually widened under Trump, especially with China. And he's repeating all this shit again. He didn't learn anything. How fucked up is that? Like, it doesn't surprise me, but it's frustrating. You all voted for him, and he's repeating it. However, the trade deficit actually widened under Trump, especially with China. Businesses imported more before tariffs took effect, and U.S. exports were hit hard by retaliatory tariffs. Inflationary effects. Tariffs contributed to inflation by raising prices on consumer goods. Example, the 2018-2019 tariffs on Chinese imports, especially on electronics, clothing, and household goods, forced retailers to pass higher costs on to consumers. Political and diplomatic fallout. Tariffs damaged relations with allies like Canada, Mexico, and the EU, who saw them as hostile economic measures. The U.S.-China trade war escalated, causing uncertainty in global markets and disrupting businesses. So, and that is huge. Like, it matters what this kind of shit does to the relations in the United States. Oh, just because it's a different year, it's all of a sudden going to work? Wow. Okay. No, I'm not playing the blame game. I'm reading you some dumbed down basic things about economics here. Basic things. You learn this on day one. You don't need to be an economist to understand this. Read a book. Trucker Matt says, well, eventually Canada will be part of the USA, so the tariffs won't matter anyway. God, do you actually believe that? It's fascinating to me if you actually believe that. It's daunting. No one's crying. What this is called is me giving you some information, giving you some rebuttals to what are probably positions you hold. And then now the next stage is not for you not to say, stop crying, bro. You're supposed to give your rebuttal or your response. Jay Ray says, Jesus Christ didn't have to go through costly legal immigration harassment when entering Egypt or when crossing Asia. USA Antichrist Corporation needs to give we the people their nation back now. Israel. Okay. Yeah, we can get into that. Yeah, let's get an update on the deportations here. As of February 13th, 2025, today, President Donald Trump's administration has implemented several significant measures to intensify immigration enforcement and expedite deportations. ICE has initiated large-scale deportation operations targeting undocumented immigrants, including those without criminal records. These actions have been particularly focused on in sanctuary cities and have led to widespread concern among immigrant communities and advocacy groups. Utilization of Guantanamo Bay for detention. The administration has announced plans to expand the Guantanamo Migrant Operations Center to detain up to 30,000 migrants. This facility is intended to house individuals awaiting deportation, particularly those deemed high priority criminal aliens. The decision has sparked debate over legal rights, logistical challenges, and international perceptions. So the intensified immigration enforcement policy under Trump's administration have had significant consequences for various groups. Those most affected included undocumented immigrants and their families, fear and family separation. Many undocumented individuals, including those who have lived in the U.S. for years, now face a heightened risk of deportation. Families with mixed immigration status are particularly vulnerable as U.S.-born children may see their parents forcibly removed. There will be workforce disruptions. This is causing major mental health struggles through the constant fear. Legal immigrants and asylum seekers, due process concerns. The expansion of expedited removal allows for deportations without judicial review, increasing the chances of wrongful deportations for individuals who may have valid asylum claims or other legal avenues to stay. So yeah, it will be interesting to see what kind of legal mess this creates, if any. There's also some legal uncertainty. While DACA recipients dreamers, while deferred action for childhood arrivals, DACA recipients are not the primary targets of mass deportations. Many still face uncertain futures as legal protections for them have been repeatedly challenged. So yeah, there's a lot to consider here. Really appreciate the $5 super chat there. Incel Speedrun says, after RFK's win, my X timeline was bombarded with, quote, long coof tweets, because coof is 100% over for most people, but they keep beating an unalived horse. Interesting. All right. Will Deasy says, we should deport this guy too. I'm not an American citizen. I'm Canadian. Is that what you think democracy is? Or do you like democracy? Maybe there's a lot of you that really don't like democracy, because many of you don't see any problems with the way Trump operates. You guys want me to go through Trump again? Why is Donald Trump a dangerous person and leader? Habitual lying and misinformation. He is the most documented liar in U.S. political history. The Washington Post counted 30,573 false or misleading claims during his presidency. 30,573. Election lies pushed the, quote, big lie that the 2020 election was stolen, leading to the January 6th attack. COVID-19 lies. Knew COVID-19 was deadly, but publicly downplayed it, leading to preventable deaths. Lied about charity donations. Claimed to donate millions, but actually used charity funds for personal gain. Trump Foundation was shut down for fraud. Lied about business success. Overstated his wealth, lied about Trump University, and ran multiple failed businesses. Does anyone actually still believe that Donald Trump is a good businessman? I don't hear people say that often anymore, but I'm just curious, like, have all of you Trumpers like finally realized that he's not? Narcissism and lack of empathy shows no remorse for people who suffer. Laughed off COVID-19 deaths, dismissed soldiers who died as suckers and losers. Died like a dog. Like this kind of stuff. Like even his respect for human life. Again, his response after the plane crash, I thought a little bit of evil slipped out of Donald Trump in his response to the plane crash. Recently, when a reporter asked him if he was going to go visit the crash site, and he kind of was like, oh, wait, you mean you want me to go underwater, like visit the water? Like, what are you talking about? And then blaming DEI and all kinds of insane nonsense during the course of his tirade. Deeply, deeply immoral person. He never admits mistakes, so he's not fallible at all. I'm not even sure if he thinks he's ever made a mistake. Blames others for his failures, never apologizes even when caught lying. Demands loyalty but gives none. Throws allies and staff under the bus whenever it's convenient. Brags about himself constantly. Even at funerals or during tragedies, he talks about his own achievements. Encourages political violence, January 6th insurrection. His rhetoric directly led to an attack on the U.S. Capitol. Encouraged police brutality. Told cops to be, quote, rough with suspects. Told supporters to beat up protesters. Encouraged violence at rallies. Knock the crap out of them. I'll pay for the legal fees. Called for civil war. Uses rhetoric that fuels domestic terrorism and political extremism. Normalizes hate groups. Refused to condemn white supremacists. Stand back and stand by. I mean, he has condemned white supremacists. But when asked about it again, he does this child thing where he digs his heels in and he refuses to condemn them directly. And I think it's like it shows he's like I don't think he thinks it's necessarily a bad thing if the white supremacist, if he can get white supremacist votes and he doesn't have to come out and endorse them. Corrupt and criminal behavior, convicted felon, 34 counts. Tax fraud, lied about his finances and paid only $750 in federal taxes in 2016 and 2017. Ran a fake university. Trump University scammed students out of thousands of dollars. Then he also claimed that, that was just a branding deal, and he had nothing to do with it, which was a lie. Stole from his own charity, used the Trump Foundation to pay for personal expenses, including a portrait of himself, paid off a porn star, lied about hush money payments to Stormy Daniels during the 2016 election. Is this enough? Do I need to keep going? How much do you need to understand that Trump is a bad person and he wasn't worthy of your vote for president? Sexist comments about women. Fat pigs, nasty, grab them by the pussy. Walked in on teenage girls in dressing rooms. Multiple pageant contestants reported inappropriate behavior. What are your daughters going to think of you casting a vote for this pig? Racism and bigotry. Refused to condemn white supremacists. Very fine people on both sides. He at one point did condemn them, but still, very fine people on both sides was a response he gave. And when you're a president, when you're someone sitting in such a high position of power, you can't afford to be loose and stupid with your words. Housing discrimination, sued by the DOJ for refusing to rent to black tenants in the 1970s. Called African nations shithole countries. Repeatedly used racist rhetoric. Well, as far as I can tell, the United States of America is a shithole country right now. That's my opinion at this very moment. And I would be upset if I was an American citizen living down there under this. The real Trump derangement syndrome lives in Trump himself and this massive cult following that he has created. That whatever Trump says is true. He's infected a large portion of the U.S. population. He's infected their ability to discern the truth properly because he's captured them into this, circle jerk, confirmation bias loop, also known as a cult. He's captured this cult that will just go to bat for him and defend him no matter what he does and just believe whatever he says. And then appoint someone like the literal king of anti-science as a health advisor. The worst choice he could have made. Someone said in an earlier stream today, Alex Jones might be worse. I really don't think so. Alex Jones might be a better choice than RFK Jr. Taylor Swift would definitely be a better choice. And I explained this earlier because Taylor Swift would almost certainly defer to the experts and to the scientific consensus when it came to what the health advisory board should be focusing on and what they should be communicating. Said a judge couldn't be fair because he's Mexican. Insulted a federal judge over his ethnic background. Anti-Muslim policies instituted a Muslim ban, blocking refugees from Muslim-majority countries. Betraying his own supporters. You guys. Tax cuts for the rich, not the poor. 2017 tax bill helped billionaires, not working-class Americans. Failed to bring back manufacturing jobs. Despite promises, factories continued to shut down. Scammed supporters. His campaign tricked small donors into signing recurring donation schemes, emptying their bank accounts. ignored rural America's needs, farmers hurt by his trade wars with China, did nothing for coal miners, promised to help coal workers, but the industry still declined under him. Destroying democratic institutions, tried to overturn an election. If he doesn't pardon himself, the law is going to come down hard on him for this. Pressured Georgia officials to, quote, find 11,780 votes. Threatened free speech, called journalists the enemy of the people. Weaponized the DOJ against enemies. Pressured the Justice Departments to investigate his political opponents. Packed the Supreme Court. Installed justices who overturned Roe v. Wade, taking away women's rights. How do all these women vote for Trump? How do they do it? How can they? How can you sleep at night? It's like, I get it. Like,